Cincinnati's ready for the Big 12. It was time for them.
I'm fired up.
It's a blessing to be able to be in this league with y'all, putting on for UC.
Cincinnati, a basketball school.
And there he goes. Touchdown! Bearcats!
Raquama again. Another slam inside.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the GoBeercats podcast. I'm Brandon. He's Darin. Hey, look at that. And we are back, Darin. We're back after about 9 days, 10 days off. I forget what it is exactly. We last met talking about the dominating performance the Bearcats had over West Virginia to close out the season. The Big 12 tournament has come and went. Selection Sunday left us staring from the outside looking inward, but we have the NIT, my friend, and that's where we're headed back. So we're going to talk about it, of course. The Bearcats are on the hardwood, so I'm going to be excited about it, even if some people say I shouldn't be. So that's where I'm headed into this conversation tonight. How about yourself? How you feeling? How you been?
Yeah, I've been good. I joked about the soccer philosophy that's crept into my life and mind. People were hoping that we could make a run in the Big 12 and get in the dance. I was like, it'd be nice to have a trophy to send the seniors out on, silverware of some kind. But no, I mean, the NIT, for some teams, that's all they can make at times, like despite their record. They could be the best team in their conference, and if it's, I wouldn't say a low major, they lose, they don't make it to the championship in their conference, and then they're out. So and they're in the NIT. We saw it with Utah Valley last year, so it's still something to play for. No one should be beneath or above this.
I'm in the Tom Crean camp. I don't know if you saw that clip of him talking about teams opting out of the NIT. He got pretty fired up, about that. And if the kids want to play, then the program should back that up and play in the tournament. And then, like in football, if they want to opt out of the bowl games or whatever, let the kids opt out. But if there's kids there to play, let them play. I'm definitely in that camp with him. Even I don't know on how many topics that will be true, but it is at least true for this one. Darin, before we get into it, you know that it's time for a beer. I think I earned this today. We got El Rollo from Coronado Brewing Company out in California. I thought, hey, we're playing a West Coast team. Why not drink a West Coast IPA? I like their logo. It's a mermaid swimming with a beer. I love that. I don't know if I've had a bad beer from this brewery, and I love West Coast IPAs. So I'm sipping on this tonight after a hard fought Monday on the job.
Yeah. Today I have water in a Stanley, water from the Earth Brewery.
All natural.
Keeps me nourished. All natural. But nothing too fancy today.
Love it. This beer is really good. Dank, hoppy, like grassy and earthy. That's my type of beer. I've never had this beer before, so when I check it in, I'm probably going like 4 out of 5, maybe 4.25 out of 5. That's solid. That'll keep me entertained here if nothing else will.
Yeah, and speaking of the beer, if you haven't seen it, they're now selling taps for Cincy Light at Ryan Guys. $50 a pop from what I saw. Sometimes too rich for some people's blood, but hey, if you want a piece of Cincinnati adjacent memorabilia, it's a good buy, especially if like a home bar or something like that.
They are $50. I did see that, and I believe I saw Rheingeist said that they only have 50 of them.
50 for 50.
So limited merch there. Before I forget, we're 5 minutes in here. As of today's March 18th, my little sister's birthday. Happy birthday, Chloe.
Happy birthday.
as of today, you can join the Catskeller Social Club Bracket Challenge on ESPN. Backed by popular demand, the Discord all but demanded it. So if the people want it, we will give it to them for sure. And I still have some Cincy Light pint glasses that weren't claimed from our last giveaway. So if you win the Catskeller Social Club Bracket Challenge, some Cincy Light pint glasses coming your way. So jump in, get in there before Wednesday or Thursday morning at the latest, since the playing games are Wednesday. Just get in there now. Well, I think we have like 10 or 12 people in there. Last I looked. So jump in to the bracket challenge. Let's do it. It's always fun to compete for free stuff.
Hell yeah.
Why not? Darin, let's talk about the Big 12 tournament in terms of the Bearcats. We can talk about it as a whole, because the championship game was wild for all the wrong reasons. If anyone watched that, let's not get there first. Let's talk about the West Virginia game. We had to turn around and play West Virginia just days after beating the brakes off of them. And in the second half, it looked like they were going to pull a complete 180 and beat the brakes off of us. We were down 16 at one point in a very weird, like clunky second half of a college basketball game.
Yeah. As we wrapped up that West Virginia, game in the season, I said it's going to be hard to turn around and beat a team in tournament play after you just beat the brakes off them, because no team's going to let you do that to them again, especially back to back. And they almost got escaped and got away with it. But despite that, we had some late game heroics from Day Thomas and Seamus, who just went off, could not miss, targeting computer in the brain, Brandon buckets, 31 and 29 respectively for points. They just did it all, which contributed to a 90 to 85 point win. So it we were flying high a little bit, at least being thankful enough not to be embarrassed by a team that we just embarrassed weeks prior. So
yeah, was it flagrant? All the games are running into each other. What was called first? The technical, like the back-to-back technicals on the West Virginia player and then coach, and then the Aziz quote-unquote flop, flagrant. I feel as though the flagrant was first, and then the technicals came after.
Flagrant first, I think, because he was shooting. So I had to leave and came back, and he was shooting. I was like, oh, okay, there he is.
So like a full-on meltdown. Almost like I would call it a West Virginia meltdown for sure, and they melted down quickly. Yes. And then combine that with CMOS and Day, like you said, combining for 60, the Bearcats had enough to pull that one out for the second time in 3 days. Kind of a weird game. Like I said, Cats pulled off 90-85, and we're thinking, okay, if we can get past that unusual hurdle, because we got to play them so close together, we take on the shorthanded Kansas Jayhawks, who beat us by 4 or 5, maybe 6, somewhere in there. The only time that we played them, but they're down there. They were down their top 2 scorers, and it was a relatively close game, for probably 2/3 of the game, maybe.
Yeah, 2/3, I'd say. And
then the Bearcats just pull away in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell they just talented their way to this point, despite their injuries. Because they had the injury bug all season. This time their freshman couldn't go off, and he honestly probably was their second best player on the floor. They just couldn't rotate guys. They had 8 players that were healthy enough to really contribute heavily. So they were playing shorthand, and we pulled away. Dan having a huge day. Love to see it. 25 points. I really was honestly kind of surprised that we pulled away, honestly. Yeah. Like I said, their talent is that good despite the lack of depth. going into this tournament. You really was like, you really thought to yourself, I wouldn't be surprised if we lost, but we knew we could win. And when did we?
For sure, yeah. I mean, anytime you can beat Kansas by 20, I'm all for it. After that, you had the likes of John Rothstein tweeting out, look, the Bearcats are poised to make a run. Starting to turn a little bit of heads. Of course, the Kansas lovers were all we're injured, blah 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 blah. They're playing for next week, whatever, making excuses. Whatever it was, the Cats 72-52. Dan put up 25 in that game, looking like a star Big 12 player. And then I'm curious to get your thoughts on the Baylor game. It was a close game, I would say. I forget what it was at halftime. And then it seemed like when we ran out of gas, it was like instant. There was no jump starting the engine once it stopped.
Yeah, a little disappointing because early on, you've seen me say this a few times, just in the heat of the moment, and when everybody's watching in chat, on Discord, why can't we just bury some teams consistently? When we were up 9 points and Baylor was having a hard time to stick with the car analogy, getting the car started. It was trying to turn, but it wasn't quite kicking off. When you got a 9-point lead like that, where they are not figuring it out, and even before they even started, getting started, we were struggling too to put points up, but they weren't either. We essentially fouled them back into that game when realistically we could have been up by 20 by the time they had figured it out. And that may still not have won us the game, but it looks a lot better and changes the strategy coming out of the second half.
Yeah.
And it's, again, you're right. We just ran out of gas. And sometimes when a team just, I'd say, overperforms or is just playing with their hair on fire, when trying to make a run or when making a run, when it ends, it ends. It just ends. And a lot of times you hope it's like, going out fighting, but really it was just kind of that right before the 10-minute mark where it was like, here we go, it's coming. The wheels are falling off, it's slowing down on the highway. And people weren't too surprised, I don't think. I think we had started to make peace with it by that point because I think everybody could see what was happening. I guess looking back, transitioning, if you remember what I said we needed to make the dance, at best case scenario, we'd make it in after 3 and then a hard fault semi. I think that it may not have been our make or break, but that was putting us in a safer spot for sure.
Oh, for sure.
And I think with the way we were making our run, we didn't have to make the finals for that. I think we could have put up a good fight to end it, especially because you want to end against I forgot. I don't know, was it Iowa State? Who advanced out Iowa State and Kansas State?
Iowa State, yeah.
Yeah, you'd want to make. I mean, obviously it didn't happen, but you'd want to make it out of that game against Baylor and then see if you can get some, keep it even with Kansas State and win, or Iowa State and just look good losing. Yeah. But
after what Iowa State did to Houston in the championship game, I don't know if there was any looking good. Oh my God, I don't know what Houston was doing or not doing.
Coasting. It feels like
Iowa State beat them so bad, people thought they should be a 1 seed in the tournament. Like that's how bad they beat them, which was a crazy debate there for a while. And what they got the 2 seed, I think. But I don't know. What do you I think kind of had an idea to pick our MVP for the Bearcats in the Big 12 tournament. Any thoughts on who you would give that to? Whether it's consistency or heroics or anything in between.
Consistency, Dan, regardless. He's really coming to
Sure.
his own and starting to figure
Yeah.
it out. So much to the point you hope no one snatches him away in the offseason. Heroics, CMS, he also seems like he started to he's pieced together becoming that 3-point weapon. Not consistently yet, but definitely more and more. And then Day just for individual game. He didn't have to he didn't have to turn it on against West Virginia. He could have said that's it and called it. And then just Jizzle James just becoming an even more consistent part of this team. He was already had worked his way into the rotation, but like he truly now is in the rotation. Like there's he's guaranteed to come off the bench at some point. And even if he like has a bad first outing, he is coming back in at some point. It's not just we'll see and okay, he had a good game here and then with cold or no, even if he goes cold, he's I think at the point where he comes back into the game because he is just part of the rotation now officially. Of course, props to his dad for being the #1 super fan, I guess, of them.
That Miami had me a little worried. What was that, the first game? Like Neon, you right behind
you
Coach
can't.
Miller. I'm like, oh, like I don't blame him, but just the proximity to the bench, and I was a little nervous there. I think he came
comes
back
from the era of where you rep your team for sure.
Yeah.
Like he's a part of that era player. Jumping over to other tournaments real quick, just specifically, real quick call out. As a basketball coach yourself, I know you saw this. Kent State Akron to finish out some action.
Man, holy cow! Yeah, that's one of those like awareness. Like I don't know what year that kid is. Like hopefully he's not a senior. But fouling that, like you're up and you commit that reach and foul. I saw that and I was just like, oh my God, that's brutal for that kid. Hopefully he's not a senior because that'd be a hell of a way to go out.
Well, and even after the fact, he still looked shocked, like he didn't understand the situation.
Yeah. I saw that and I watched it 3 or 4 times and I was just like, man, he's going to be the least popular kid on campus for a while. Hopefully they have a good baseball team or something to everyone had a nice St. Patrick's Day and drank that memory away or something.
Yeah.
That was brutal for sure. Brutal. Let's talk about our main thing here, Darin. The Bearcats are back in the NIT. They are back in the NIT for the second year. We'll host at least one game for the second year in a row. Let me pull this up here. First game is Wednesday, correct? Wednesday at 9 p.m., Fifth Third Arena. And here is our bracket. Let's see. That doesn't really help us. We'll keep our faces up here. We are. You don't know. You can't see my all.
It's all good. I have a copy. Yeah, we're good.
We hey, look at this zoomed in. We're on the top right quadrant, if you will. Our #1 seed, Indiana State, who had been ranked for the first time, I think, since Larry Bird was there. I think that's a fact. A lot of people thought they would be in, but they were not. An old friend or foe, SMU, right there, which that's an interesting matchup. Butler, Minnesota, Bradley, Sister Jean, Cincinnati, and San Francisco in our quadrant. What do you think the Bearcats draw in this?
It's anybody's game right now, honestly. I mean, theoretically, we should be able to roll, kind of right out to the quarterfinals. But it's college sports and it's a tournament setting. It's win or go home. You just don't know who's going to turn on, and there's no do-overs. San Francisco last time we played, not since 1976 apparently, in the Gardens. So, to be specific, the Cincinnati Gardens. We're not talking Big East here. I think historically we both have 2 national tournaments or national championships apparently. So, it didn't go well last time we played them. I don't think so. Yeah, again, you can't take anything for granted. It's March. The magic doesn't only exist in the Division 1 tournament, but the NIT as well. It kind of seems like one of those things where, like, as people push on into the tournament, it gets more serious. A lot of people kind of just resign themselves, like, well, yeah, didn't have the season we wanted anyway, so we're here. If we lose, whatever. But then if they start making it,
that's right. Competitive juices kick in a little bit. Like, be damned the name on the tournament where, we take the floor. We're here to win. After you get a couple under your belt. I 100% agree with that. I think we kind of saw that last year. At least I kind of, it's noticeably like, if we're doing this, let's do it right. It gets a little bit more competitive, a little more serious after each round. I don't know if you saw this, Darin, but so Bearcats San Francisco, both with 2 national championships, and each of them claim their own GOAT. Oscar Robertson, Cincinnati, of course, Big O. San Francisco alum Bill Russell, pretty famous guy in the basketball histories there. So 2 different versions of a GOAT. It's been quite some time since we met, like you said. Just in our quadrant overall, though, like you said, quarterfinals, like, it's got to be a minimum. Like, I mean, San Francisco, they play in the West Coast Conference. The powerhouses being Gonzaga #1 and St. Mary's to a lesser extent there. Couldn't tell you much about Bradley. Loyola Chicago, they had a run that 2018 year that should have been us. We won't talk about that. Butler, Minnesota is kind of interesting. I think Indiana State and SMU is we'll see, like, SMU being in the American, where we know what they're about. We've played them plenty of times over the last 10 years. But we'll see if that's step up in competition for Indiana State, see how much they can handle that right off the bat. So I mean, I'm quarterfinals or bust at least here. So some other, looking at our same side of the bracket here, you have UCF. I saw some people, they playing South Florida. I forget who said this on the Discord. Maybe I don't know who it was, but they said, I'm not cheering for UCF often, but I am for this game because South Florida thinks they should have got our spot in the Big 12.
Yeah.
So I'll roll with that as well. I'll pull for our conference mates. You have two of our neighbors over here on the bottom left, in Xavier and Ohio State. Ohio State getting a 2 seed as well. And then over here, top left, I don't know. This is probably the quadrant I'd know least about. I don't know what's going to happen over here. Some interesting teams, some unique matchups. But I don't know. It's kind of if I was filling out a bracket here, it'd be maybe a coin flip for some of these games. I don't know.
Seton Hall was people were thinking they should have made it. So
yeah,
definitely a favorite. Probably the strongest 20-win team, at least considered here. Obviously, Wake Forest too was on that bubble watch with us.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these 20-win teams were really. LSU dangerous still, despite their 17-15. The SEC's really stepped up in basketball over the past few years.
For sure.
They used to, I won't say be an afterthought, but it definitely was not their strong suit. They've definitely thrown money into.
It was Kentucky and Florida forever.
Yeah. And then Florida dropped off, and it was just Kentucky. Bama got a little dangerous, and then kind of fell back, and then now they're good. And then Tennessee, it's the SEC has raised their ceiling. So how about 17 wins LSU is dangerous.
with Seton Hall and Xavier and whatnot, how about the Big East only getting 3 teams in the Big Dance? That was a little something that conference isn't used to, I would say.
They beat up on each other, basically, is what that is. Xavier almost did make the NIT, I'm pretty sure. So the only reason they did is because they had an okay run in their tournament.
And what, Indiana and Oklahoma are 2 schools that I know turned it down.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone else no one else that I saw like report that, but I know those 2 did for sure.
Yeah, that's probably why they're here actually. So looking at the bracket, I'm pretty sure they're the lowest win team in the. I mean, we obviously can't talk too much. They beat us already this year, so it's like, but as the season went on, you can tell who got better.
I think we talked about that last time. Yeah.
And as fate would have it, that's probably what's going to happen once we make a run, they make a run, and there we are in the finals. Because why wouldn't it be? And you got to beat Indiana State and UCF to do it. So
why not? Yeah, I wish I could go to the game on Wednesday. The 9 p.m. tip is just a little bit too late of a game for me on a school night.
Our own city, honestly. Like
yeah. Hopefully they show up. Hopefully, we take care of business on Wednesday, and then later on I can get tickets to one of the later games, or however it shakes out that we have home games or not. I don't think they're doing any floor repairs this year, so as long as we are winning, and we should be able to host the games we're supposed to. That was so obnoxious last year. Unfortunate, but hey, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, so some circle of suck for you. At least on our side of the bracket. San Francisco, just looking at their schedule, they did beat Minnesota this year pretty handily, actually, 76-58.
Okay.
Early in the season. USF, I want to say, second best team in the AAC this year. Did take it to FAU at one point, who were the dominant team this year.
Mm-hmm.
Utah State, actually that's just Utah. Never mind. I was gonna say Utah State also was a common opponent for them as well. And then just a crap ton of Big East teams all over the bracket. So there's just that whole connection regardless there. Looking at San Francisco, they really didn't look impressive against ranked teams at all this year. Got pretty handily beat against the ones they did play.
Looking at their schedule, Darin, and if you have it pulled up here as well, just at first glance, I don't see like a key or like a marquee road win on their schedule either. That Minnesota game was a home game. And every other loss on their schedule to a ranked opponent, and they don't have that many. Even when they played Gonzaga, sometimes they weren't ranked. Like St. Mary's, they lost on the road. I don't see a solid win for them on the road this season.
No, they're not a great road team. Third in the conference, but not a great road team. Some more circle of suck actually, which is even funnier. They did beat Purdue Fort Wayne, whose women's is a potential opponent for our women's team. We'll get more into that later though. Not a great away team, honestly. So I mean, they whooped up on a really small university earlier this season, 128-59. So, and that's like, who was the team that got beat up on? That was just like it was a private school that I think is pretty much like I don't even want to say far right Christian university. Not even to get into politics, but like that was like their claim to fame is that like they're like basically like a cash grab university, and they got whooped up on. Very similar type of opponent.
Yeah, I know who you mean. Yeah. For whatever reason, the name's escaping me. Or they started out that way at least. And like there was a documentary about them.
They're like a bad Liberty, essentially. Like
yeah. shoot, I forget what it was called. They're decent at football,
Yeah,
or they were at least.
yeah, it's like the Liberty Experiment, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Anything else? I mean, fans are pissed off. I mean, there's
Yeah.
some think we shouldn't be in the NIT. I said my thoughts on that already. Do I want to be in the NCAA tournament? Of course. 2019 since we've been back, but not there yet.
I mean, we would have been back too, like even for that 2020, but like we were co-champions of the conference regular season, so it's like, yeah,
right. We I mean, there's stuff that we'll get into when we do our season wrap up episode, which we'll do once this NIT run is done, and we'll get into some things. But for now, they're playing basketball.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm cheering for them. I'm watching the games. I'm into it. Just like whatever. I don't let it be. Do I want to hang an NIT banner in Fifth Third Arena? No, but maybe put it out in the hallway or on the concourse somewhere or something. I don't know. Let put it somewhere in the arena. It doesn't have to be in the rafters. Or you do, and then that way you never forget where you came from. And when we're back in our 10th, 11th, 12th year in a row in the NCAA tournament, and we'll think back and be like, hey, remember in 2024 when we won the NIT? God, that feels like so long ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It still feels good. Like I said, like the soccer mentality has taken over. It still feels good to have some, kind of silverware, if that is to be for this run. It's not the worst thing to hang up. Because there's a better existing tournament, it it loses a little bit of luster, but at least that you were solid throughout that run. So
who I'm excited to be in the WNIT?
Mm-hmm.
The Lady Bearcats, the
Sisterhood.
Sisterhood. When I saw that tweet, I had to do a double take. I'm like, is this for real? Like, I just was not I was not expecting them to make a postseason run. I don't, I'm not trying to be a jerk about it, but I didn't know, they were there yet, let alone able to get a first round bye. So, I mean, you kind of brought it up, hinted at it, and they're playing the winner of Purdue, Fort Wayne, or Eastern Kentucky. I'm super excited they get to extend their season. I don't know much about a lot of these teams in the WNIT, so I don't know what to expect at all, except expect the unexpected.
Yeah. Do you have their bracket there? Yeah.
So this is Twitter. I don't know. I can't zoom in on Twitter.
Here, we got one in the Discord that you can save. It should be in the women's channel, but it should be there. Yeah.
Hold on. Stop sharing.
But yeah, I mean, we basically either face Eastern Kentucky or Purdue, Fort Wayne. Purdue, Fort Wayne challenged himself a lot this season. They played a ton. Well, I won't say a ton, but they played a healthy number of top teams. They played the Wavy Wolverines, lost 80-61. The Iowa Caitlin Clarks, 98-59. That wasn't probably gonna go well for them anyway. And then played some local teams. I guess regionally they're closer to us because I mean you'll see them play Cleveland State, Northern Kentucky. I mean they're just all over. Did beat a Western Kentucky team earlier. Wright State. It just kind of looks like they kind of get their opponents where they can, really. But then they just play in the Horizon League finished third there. Respectable 21-12. So it's really hard to say. Because, like I said, those talent spreads are just really hard to pick apart. And even if you're a more talented team, sometimes you have an off night, it's just over.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's hard to bounce back. As for Eastern Kentucky, 22-11, but they're fifth in the Atlantic Sun. They played a few ranked teams. Of note, Utah lost 117-72. So, they beat Miami of Ohio, lost to Lady Vols, lost to Lipscomb. Not too much of note on them. They did go 5-0 to start the season. But like I said, Utah was kind of that wall I ran into there. Kept a lot of their other games close, though. But just kind of show you the inconsistency. They played Lipscomb 3 times, lost twice. First time 64-59. Lost again 71-68, then beat them 99-68. So it just kind of shows you how inconsistent they are. Then again, play a team 3 times. Maybe you're just bound to whoop up on them a little bit.
This is as good as I can get this, unfortunately, even on the Discord.
There you go.
But Cincinnati here with the bye, as you can see in this bracket. Looking at the whole thing, it's like you said. Talent is very condensed, I feel, in the women's side of things. So I don't know. Also, with the first round bye in the Discord, someone looked up that does not mean that that does not necessarily mean that the Bearcats will get to host a game. So I don't know exactly the schedule or where that is. I don't know if that's been announced yet because the bracket came out about 4 o'clock today, maybe later, 5 o'clock today. So details as far as that are unknown at this time, I believe.
Yeah.
Not guaranteed to host second round.
Yeah, record-wise, we're one of the weaker teams in the tournament.
Yeah.
Again, what's also be said about a level of competition we played, which is probably what put us in the bye there. Because the Big 12 is just the Big 12 consistently across the board for men and women's. So you got Wisconsin sitting there 13-16. So it definitely seems a lot of the more traditional schools from on the men's side, where the level is raised in the conferences you're playing in. A lot of them got the bye on that. So
yeah, be interesting to see. We said this. I think that the Discord agrees with this. The Sisterhood has overachieved here year one. So another sort of feather in the cap here to overachieving, making a postseason tournament. Like I said, I didn't expect it. So good stuff here on that side of things.
Put us back on TV too for recruiting.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was the big point someone actually made in Discord as well. Good recruiting tool. And hopefully that's what comes out of this. Hopefully we also make a good run.
I haven't taken a deep dive into any of the rosters. Maybe we can talk about this after the NIT is over. But any of the star players on the other teams that we should be looking out for to audition for us in this NIT, like Aziz Bandango did last year. We'll have to look into that, and maybe we can have a little fantasy draft if we can pick a player from each team that we played. Hopefully it's 4 or 5 teams here down the line. We'll have to see if we can't pick one of those off again this year, and then just be banned from the NIT forever for some weird rule that they make up.
Plucking too much talent from other teams or something like that.
Exactly.
I'm sure if they ever get a handle on NIL, that maybe they do something about that. But who's to say? Turning our attention to golf here.
You want to go golf or baseball?
Let's go baseball. It's been a second. Let's go baseball.
Let's go. Because I'm Kansas really pissed me off.
Talk about the bunt.
The bunt, man. Come on. How weak is that? Oh.
That definitely wasn't. They definitely did it on purpose. I mean, not just regular, obviously 9/10. Yeah. Tommy Boba was on a no-hitter, a freaking heater. One of the guys that was really expected to get a look this year, as well. But yeah, he was going off. It did earn him Pitcher of the Week honors though, in the Big 12. But yeah, he was on his way to a complete no-hitter, and then at the last moment, the Kansas, I forgot who was at the bat, but they I think it was into the 8th inning.
Yeah, I mean it was deep into the game.
And you don't pull. I mean, the thing is, you don't pull them. You don't pull them when they're hot like that either. Even if you're trying to protect records there. I mean, and there was they said 5 out of 8 of those strikeouts ended the inning. So I mean, he was just a wrecking crew that game. That currently, I think, puts us at 3-3 in conference.
I think so.
We won the series against Kansas, lost the series against Kansas State. That going back to Kansas State, the March 10th game went to 12 innings. We lost 13-14. I definitely like how we're matching up so far. That being the case, we're not totally out of it as far as level of competition. Now, Grant, we haven't played the likes of like a TCU or Oklahoma State, whose baseball facilities are just crazy and they invest money into the sport. But so far, so good. You hope to be 4-2 instead out of those 3 and take 2 series, but also just a learning process, getting your first Big 12 game there. Lost the first one 0-4, won the next one 11-7, but then lost ultimately and fell in its 12 inning game, 13-14. I want to say it was a home run, I think. So again though, hanging in there, competitive. We look like we belong. Love to see it. Reports though that the Mug Club was a good idea.
I saw some talking about that. Yeah.
I've yet to make it out of the game, which I feel bad now because I got like the good seats too. I just haven't made it out to a game yet. We're some ways in. I mean, we're almost halfway through the season, just about actually.
That's crazy.
Yeah. The college baseball moves fast because your tournament doesn't get till post graduation, basically. Next up we got a Miami rivalry game that's going to be this Wednesday also. So if you got time to travel around, it's 4 p.m. You can make your way down to the stadium later for some basketball. Then after that, we take on St. Louis Billikens, and that's going to be at St. Louis. Renew a rivalry with Louisville in Louisville on the 26th, and then we get back into Big 12 action with Baylor. And after that, we continue the Joe Nuxall Classic with Xavier. So,
oh yeah, good stuff.
I think we're just rolling after that.
Definitely want to, man. I want to make it out of the game, but you're right; it's moving fast. And the weather outside this week does not look promising at all. It was snowing today.
Yeah.
When I looked out my window at work, that's brutal. Doesn't make me want to play baseball or golf. Going outside. So yeah, good stuff. I take series when you can in the Big 12.
Yeah.
Like I said, that bunt to get out of the no hitter by Kansas is super weak. Brutal for the pitcher there as well. Just the start of a nice baseball rival. That's how you start a baseball rivalry. I think.
It is.
I think that just happened. Yeah. Watch out, Kansas. We just beat you by 20 in basketball, and now you're number one on our baseball shit list as we try to build this program up.
You think they sent the hit out on like they made the call just like a coach's discussion of like finish him, just ruin it for him. Like that'd be some dedication right there.
That would be for sure.
But yeah, Tommy Bob was a sophomore. We talked about him, a little bit. He was going to get a good look this year. He a little bit of a unit too, 6'2", decent size on him. Got that cowpot on him. I mean, he's not completely a Tommy O'Connor, but still, we got some height in our pitching there. Like it's not bad at all. Although I think he's a first base now, actually. So, yeah, like I said, like you said, good rivalry to start. Looking forward to watching the games. Usually you can follow along. They're not always on the ESPN Plus, but usually there's at least a stat tracker you can follow. Man, if we could really get some radio broadcasts going at some point, you need students who want to be involved with that, though. It's probably how that's going to go. I asked for it, but so why don't you do it?
Right.
I tried my hand at that long ago for UC. It did not work out too well. So
really.
I used to, for a time, I was in the student radio group, the Bearcats media. We were trying to get into broadcasting some of like the non-money making sports. And I did one soccer game. And also like we also like the director of the program couldn't get anybody else to help me or be like my color commentary. So I had to do both. I eventually just gave up and left because like they stuck me I thought I was going to be in the press box in Gettler. And then they stuck me basically on like the second floor of the garage to watch, and then gave me like it was not my first time doing it. You're trying to follow the action, soccer commentary. You got
car alarm going off.
Yeah, car alarm going off. For soccer commentary, you got to really kind of pick and choose. You can't react to every single moment. You have to kind of, pace yourself with it. So that was just a failed experiment, and I don't think we ever went back to doing it after that. Eventually, I became the sports director for the program for a semester, but then I stopped pursuing another degree, so I left. So yeah.
Didn't know you had such the background there, Darin. That's good stuff. Yeah. Getting to a deeper dive on Darin here. It's a new segment we'll have to add in every week. With the last thing I have here, just a quick update on golf. They are golfing right now down in Houston. Last I looked, they were tied for 12th, which is not where they usually are. I would say, although Rylan Witherspoon tied his season low with a 68 today in the first round. I think they only have 2 rounds at this one. It's the All-American Intercollegiate hosted by Houston. So I think they only have 2 rounds on this. And then the last one that I don't think we talked about, it might have been was the Johnny O at Sea Island hosted by Rutgers, I believe. The team finished 6th, which is not bad at all. And it's kind of been, you thought like Ryan Ford would sort of, or Ty Gingrich would kind of like anchor the team and be like 1 and 2 all year. But so far there's been some different names pop up as leading the team in each round. Connor McNeely at the Johnny O was finished with a 210 team, not team low, but 68, 70, and 72 in each of the rounds is not bad at all. And then Ryan Ford with the team low, who went with a 64 in the first round there, and then sort of ran into some trouble in the second and third. But 6th place overall in the last one. and I don't know where they finished the day today, but they were tied for 12th last I looked.
Yeah, they're at 16th now. We
Yeah,
dropped
they're
7
sliding.
spots on that. Collective cumulative at plus 25.
Mhm.
Ryan Ford is tied for 78 out of all players at plus 10 right now. Tied with Connor McNeely, actually, is one of the players. Ty Gingrich, 84, 11 plus. Ryan, basically, like you said, Ryan Witherspoon is basically here right now. He's tied for fourth and 2 under. And then Jackson Feeney is at 99th, plus 17. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what this course is. I haven't looked into a lot of that that side of things, which is very important in golf. But just looking at every team, I mean, every team is over. Sam Houston in first place is 2 over, and then finishing out the 20 teams that are participating, Louisiana at plus 38. But I mean, usually you see a lot of unders after the first round. So I don't know what's happening at this course today, but it looks like it's a little rough for everybody.
Yeah, that course, a lot of hazards, from what I can tell. I mean, even on hole one, I mean, and if you go out and play over the cart path to the left, there's water there, but then straight down into the when you get down into the hole, start approaching, it's nothing but bunkers all around. So, yeah, no, I mean, and that's like just a majority of it. It's either just army of bunkers or water on both sides. So really just narrow pathing at a glance. I mean, hole 7 is probably their most forgiving one as a par 3, and even still, there's just a water hazard to curve there. So it's yeah, it doesn't look like it gets any easier. There's some tall grass on 10, more just a long fairway on 11 for par 4. There's just water on one side. Pretty forgiving if you can avoid that. 12 looks okay. 13, par 5. Really, just kind of hoping not to go off course there. They got an aggressive par 3 at 14.
Aggressive.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot of tall grass, a combination of grass and bunker, just around. Tall grass and bunker. I mean, and their 18th hole is just a narrow path, not a lot of traps, a large body of water to the side on the approaching from the left. But it's easy to end up carrying if you're not good with your shots. Easy to either hit the water or carry over into another hole for that. So if this is to be believed that it's a tournament hole, I would imagine that is. But they're playing at the Golf Club of Houston. So beautiful course though. We would just lose a whole pack of balls if it was you and me.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like Costco size.
Yeah. Sure. No Kirkland signature after that. That's going down to like Sam's Club brand or something.
Yes, for sure. For sure. Darin, that's all I have tonight, man. We previewed a lot of stuff. We recapped the Big 12 tournament a little bit there, but previewed a lot, and we have a lot ahead of us tonight or going forward.
Yeah. One other thing. I mean, we're in the spring ball now for football. How have you felt about the video little mini docs they've been doing leading up to this, the Strong Show Rain look?
I like the look. I'm not that well versed on all the videos yet. I've not including the one that today that they dropped about the construction. I gotta catch up on some of that content. I've not been up to everything that I need to be up on yet.
Yeah, no, it's been nice at least to look into like their behind the scenes that they've been doing like in this off season. The last one they dropped was on the 11th for episode 4. It might just be a 4-parter because it looks like they were dropping them every Monday. But it's been nice to kind of look behind the scenes and to see how they're training. It looks like the big emphasis this year was just giving a bad taste out of their mouth and building their identity and trying to come together as a unit. Which it almost speaks to how bad it potentially was. That we don't see that. You hear rumors,
Right.
About this guy, doing that on the sideline. This guy trying to fight somebody. You just don't obviously know without being a fly on the wall or being involved in the team that way. But if that's to be believed, it sounds like that was really important to, really establish an identity for this team.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that paying off. In other news, though, we also have on April 11th, New Heights episode being filmed in Nippert.
Yeah, we would definitely dive into that a little bit more. I mean, fantastic show, podcast. To get them back on campus to do this, I think to benefit Cincy Reigns, if I'm not mistaken. We're definitely going to have to talk about that a little bit more in depth as that gets a little closer here, because it's what, 2 days before or a couple days before the spring game. Big things happening there on the football side that we'll definitely dive into here in the very, very near future. Yeah,
I know you can sign up for updates from the website. Hopefully something comes through soon. Hopefully things aren't too crazy. Hopefully there's also a priority via
right. Like, how are they trying to, like, how many people are they trying to put in Nippert Stadium for this? Like, I've been in Nippert Stadium for a lot of things, not just football games, and like.
Well, I think what Obama spoke at Nippert one year, obviously they've done graduation a few times.
It'd be interesting to see how many people they're trying to put in there.
Yeah, because do we know if it's going to be just they stick them in the middle of the field?
Yeah, I don't know either. That's what I want to find this stuff out, and I want to talk about it, because there's a lot of, like, is this in the press box, or is this in the end zone? Like, there's there's different vibes that you could be going for here, and I want to see what they come up with for sure.
Press box, we're not getting tickets. That's just I don't live in that tax bracket at all. Yeah. So
you know somebody that looks the other way when you sneak in, like
right.
So,
and maybe they'll sell it, they'll put it in the press box and put it on the TV outside or something goofy.
Right, yeah. Here, peasants, look what we're doing in here.
But big of them to do this and give back to the school in this way. I wonder how much we had to pester them to really work the deal out, and come back. And my hope is that it turns into a fan fest. They get Sauce, Zach Caleros to come on, Tony Pike, and just a few different guys from throughout.
Jason with a Batman mask, shotgun.
Absolutely, yeah. Just straight Cincy Reigns or Cincy Lights,
exactly.
I'm for it.
Hell yeah, dude. We'll definitely look into that. We'll see what we can uncover there, and let the good people know what's coming.
Yes, sir.
Well, hey, we'll do this again soon. How about that?
Deal.
Cheers. Go Bearcats.
Cheers. Go Bearcats.